Welcome to the very first Amazing Race 25 recap podcast from the UR Team Number Facebook group. My name is Michael Halzone, and I'm joined as ever by one of many North Americans who doesn't consider gay people to basically be women, Logan Saunders.
Good morning.
Good morning, Canada. And as a special treat, all the way from the Australia versus New Zealand recap podcast, it's Ben Powell. Ben Powell. Ben Powell. If you haven't seen the cast preview yet, just watch the first 10 seconds. You'll get what I'm referencing there. If you want to get in contact with us during the next hour, you can do the Q&A on the Google Plus page. You can also post comments on this video if you're watching on YouTube, or go to the Facebook group, which is linked in the video description. Alternatively, Twitter's using the hashtag yatncast, which you can see whenever I or Ben speak. It's somewhere in this bottom corner. No, that one. Oh, that's still down there. Very. So, how did we enjoy the premiere?
I loved it.
Is New York in LA?
No, this is the first time, I believe, since season 17 that Amazing Race has not relied on LA.
What's wrong with LA now? Did they have a fight with CBS?
Let's be fair, it's probably just because of the history. They'll go back to LA next season. If there is a next season at all, of course.
Yeah, were we the only three people watch the Amazing?
Looking at the viewing figures, yes. That was a bit of a drop.
Also, actually, none of you count because it's like American and cities. So, like one of the over here, I found out like way too late that apparently me tuning in to watch the Amazing Race Australia every week didn't affect the viewing figures at all because it only does like the capital cities of each state.
Yeah.
So it's like Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, and me out here in Whoop Whoop Aboriginal town name,
Whoop, whoop.
New South Wales, doesn't count at all.
Yeah.
But then again, my refusal to watch Big Brother Australia this year doesn't count either. So
Have you given up on it now then?
I gave up on it like week one. It's just like I've been in a rewatch for like the old seasons, and they're surprisingly better and less like, less like sanitized and PG. And it's like I wouldn't want to see like a version of Big Brother like Nikki Graham is like PG orientated.
Who is she? Who is she? Where did you
find her?
I'm so
Alright,
cold!
Alright, let's go on subject like that Logan knows what we're talking about.
Logan, I've posted the link a couple of times to the Nikki Graham best of video. It's amazing.
I will give that a look.
If you've never seen Big Brother UK before, yeah, she's by far the biggest star in terms of every time you would bring her on. She'd be like the Jessie Goddard, basically, if there was a Pandora's box. Someone would be stuck with her for an hour, in a cold room, probably. With her just whining, going, I'm so cold!
Sounds like a dog from 101 Dalmatians. And I believe that is Michael's brother interrupting our podcast once again.
Yeah, for the first time in about a season and a half, he didn't listen to me when I told him I was podcasting. Basically, to quote Whitney, he disgusts me. We'll be seeing that.
So, should we get started on the episode?
Yeah, we probably should. So
How original.
Why did Phil talk about the Bethesda fountain if Times Square was the start line? Just like, yeah, I'm in Central Park, bitches. Surely it would have been a better idea to have it in Central Park, although they probably couldn't set up all the lights at 3 a.m. If they were going to honour history properly.
Is Bethesda Park anywhere near Flushing Meadows, or is that like completely different part of the city?
Central Park is downtown or Manhattan, as is Times Square. The Unisphere, however, where they went for the first route marker, is Flushing Meadows, which is Queens. Right near where I stay.
Of course. Because, But yeah, I was thinking it had to be elsewhere from downtown New York because, well, we learned in the first season with Frank and Margarita that it is in fact in their borough, which was Queens. And oddly enough, there's Frank Mesa, and he's just standing there.
Along with Terrence, and I think Dan from Dan and Andrew. That was pretty neat.
I've heard the Guido's there as well.
Yeah.
Well, that might
Actually,
be
I think it was Andrew from Dan and Andrew that was there, and Guido's, and then Luca bragged about being there online quite a bit. Nobody was laughing at him from what
They're
was
laughing at
reported.
him.
It's funny that Terrence was shown front and center
Yeah. Surely Terrence
as
was
if
not.
Terrence the biggest star in 5 seasons.
Yeah, surely Terrence was not the biggest star even in New York in terms of tar stars or stars. Barely anyone will remember him. He has one classic moment for me, and that is eating a soup made from a sheep's ass, despite being a vegetarian.
You mean not eating a soup made from a sheep's ass?
No, yeah, a bit of it, I think. I seem to remember. It's a while since I've seen that season, but I'm pretty sure he tried it at least. So.
And he stopped being a vegetarian ever since that experience.
Yeah, I won't be surprised. Because it was so delightful for him.
That's why I threw my bacon again.
So what we're basically claiming is that Terrence's bacon was the fat from a sheep's ass.
Okay then.
Yeah, good claim for the start of the season.
Yes, that's correct. I think Terrence will be on this podcast to verify that fact.
I think we should try and go for a beating the Canada and try and get every team to be abusive towards us this season. It was 10 of 11 retweeted you last season, wasn't it?
I believe so, yeah. Just Shal and Nabila just held out on me. I'll never forgive them for that.
The Forges didn't tweet you, did they? Because they don't have the Twitters.
Well, that's non-applicable. They don't even have Twitter. I think if they did, they would have retweeted me anyway.
And Sheller and Nabila didn't have a sense of humour, so it's all right.
Meanwhile, we got 5 out of 20.
It says their sense of direction of their sense of skills at tasks.
Yeah, but you got the advantage there, Ben, of having actual Jono comment on the video.
Yep.
Which is ridiculous. And you know I'm still jealous of that.
And I'll hold that over for you forever.
That is ridiculous. So we were introduced to the teams again. We had Adam and Bethany, who seemed quite godbothery. Amy and Maya, who already seemed to have scoop beliefs. Dennis and Isabel seem to be the new Brian and Erica when it comes to disproving parents.
Brian!
I hope they turn into Brian and Erica. I loved Brian and Erica. Brooke and Robbie, I agree with you. I'm probably going to get a U-turned. Keith and he obviously disgusted me. Kim and Ali implied they were junkies of some description.
And have crazy purple hair.
Yeah. Lisa
They
and
could be
Michelle.
superheroes.
Yeah. Spoilers. Lisa and Michelle are number 1 in Miami, but number 11 in Tar. And Michael and Scott remind me that Jason and Amy were supposed to be the Boston Strong team. Did we like Tim and TJ using the race to come out as well? Or at least one of them did.
There are worse things you could do. I mean, you could come out in Big Brother.
Yeah, that is pretty bad. I'll come out using a cake, as the soup showed me. Shelley and Nikki, hey. I reckon Misty and Jim.
Tim and TJ could have just used a hashtag coming out as a way to come out. So I think coming out in the race was a bit better than using Twitter.
Be hashtag coming out. I reckon Misty and Jim are going to be a huge target now they've got the save as well. Other spoilers. So, Phil had a nice public start and having to shout, and as we mentioned, teams must head to the finish line of the first ever season at the Unisphere, which is in Flushing Meadows Park, which, as you can kind of see, was a little bit rainy when I was there. Very rainy. Yeah, deliberately.
I think in the background you can finally see John.
Were Rob and Brennan already there?
Yeah. I deliberately managed to convince my brother to go there, despite him not knowing it was a finish line. Didn't tell me because it was funny. And then, oh, by the way, finish line. Now I have leverage. Did that a couple of times.
You should have just played the theme to Gladiator. That's what That's how all good people arrive at the Unisphere.
Also, going back to Tim and TJ, did you notice where they were running or walking down in their intro?
I only noticed the funky music that suddenly
If
played
I'm not
when they were
mistaken, that was
introduced.
the Colorado Street Bridge in Pasadena, also known as the start line of Amazing Race 21, which I also went to, but I didn't get the picture there.
All right then.
Yeah, so we've had a finish line be actually explicitly visited and a start line not be expressed, but it actually was the start line. I'm pretty sure that was the Colorado Street Bridge.
Mm. Did they ever start?
I was amazed how amped all the teams were at 3:30 in the morning.
They must have been told they were going to be there for a couple of days and to get into a different sleep pattern, because they were very awake.
Hmm.
It's like they were all injected with Jim and Misty steroids, and combined with Brooke and Robbie steroids as well. I'm surprised. I think Brooke and Robbie's occupation is going to change to unemployed soon, since they both fight for TNA, which is on the verge of going bankrupt on Spike TV right now.
Robbie Jesse Goddard's his partner, I believe, tag team partner.
That makes sense.
I think he was.
Also, I have no I don't follow wrestling at all. So you have your little conversation. I'll just sit back here and
I don't follow wrestling either. I don't follow wrestling either. I've heard that in the back of my mind somewhere. I'm gonna have to Google it in a minute, I think. So teams were directed to the Unisphere, as we said, and I really, 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 really hate the fact that the relationships are now replaced by hashtags on the bottom of the screen.
I don't mind that.
Oh, it just annoys me. I know.
Like there are worse things they could do. There are worse things they could do worse things they could do than just giving the team names hashtags. Plus, it's like if by officially thinking it, they can if it's important to people in CBS, they can just gauge. By giving them a specific thing to follow, they can gauge which ones are actually the most popular on social media. So good.
Yeah.
And a little bit of downside on our part, and a big upside on their part.
Robbie was, as I said, Jesse's partner. Because I've just Googled it.
Alrighty.
Do you notice the titles have slightly changed as well?
The one thing I did notice that wait, are they different from the last two seasons?
Yeah, they've slightly changed the music, I think, and they've definitely changed the location shown. 100% that because I know exactly where one of them is, which I'm hoping will be visited next week, actually.
Yeah. The only thing I really noticed as changed from the intro was, for some reason, they inserted a shot, a split-second shot of someone someone groping a Buddha.
Yeah, they did.
It was just
Was Courtney Yates there?
No, she's
just in the back of a shot,
groping it and flipping it off.
Yeah, there was. Do either of you watch K. Francis?
No.
No.
There's a particular bridge in the centre of London that every single season, without fail, the new candidates will be shown walking down. I can't remember the name of the bridge, but that is definitely in the intro now. Is that going to be visited? That's awesome. But yeah, it's right in
the introducing the teams that Shelly Nikki said that a lot of people refer to them as sisters, but is that it remind me of the thing from the It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia series premiere where they had to argue over whether like two African American females meant sisters as in sister, or sisters as in friends. So it just reminded me of that all over again.
Yeah, I watched about 10 minutes of it on with me, and went, this is shit. I'm finishing. So you
I
don't
haven't
like
seen much of that show. The only I've seen like I don't know. There's like there's an episode that's somehow ended up with someone walking in the entire group looking like they're about to sacrifice a baby or something, and there was an argument. I think there's an episode about an argument between the difference between bears and twinks. But you two aren't interested in that subject, so I'll just be quiet. The second subject, at least. I don't know what your thoughts on baby sacrifice are. So.
Yes, we are an anti-baby sacrifice podcast.
Unless it's Honey Boo Boo.
Weak.
So once they find the Unisphere, they find out they've got to fly to St. Thomas in the US Virgin Islands, and once they make their way to Vendors Plaza, and only 5 teams will get on the first flight. The rest have to go on the second flight, which is 40 minutes later.
Did anybody find it salt that didn't have to come? It would have been hilarious if he accompanied one. If he accompanied to Flushing Meadows, assuming to see Robin Brennan standing there at the route marker all along.
Yeah, they should have done that. They should have had Robin Brennan just give them the clue. And say, do you know who I am?
Yeah.
Mm.
Maybe like,
Very
you
often
lose
off
again,
some
Frank.
with Tommy Victor and
Just going back to the new intro images, I did see an ox as well. I definitely saw an ox.
Wasn't that a Carabao?
Was it fixed? Did they fix it after all this time?
Well, I'm assuming that is going to be a huge reference to My Ox is Broken, which I believe is coming back. As I did say to Logan when we were in Vancouver, I'm pretty sure I've heard very, very strong rumours that when they head to the Philippines towards the end of the season, they will be doing My Ox is Broken again as a route info, so no one can get out of it.
But seriously, has Colin fixed it?
Not sure. I think we should. Is Colin on Twitter? I think we should ask whether he's fixed his ox yet.
I don't know. Something tells me he might be in a maximum security prison by now.
I'm pretty sure he is actually, because I might follow him. I don't follow him yet. Oh, he's not tweeted since 2010. Damn.
Should we talk about the save? The save, this thing that gets referenced 200,000 times in the episode?
Yeah, and the thing that on our banner, which I will be uploading after the episode, and it will be the thumbnail for this episode, as I've given Ben a little preview, because you requested it, it's a picture of John Rocker. The image for the save on the banner is John Rocker's face.
The save!
Yeah. Because if you give me a good idea like that, I will do it.
I don't actually get it, so you're gonna have to explain that to me, because Australian.
In baseball, John Rocker is a closer, and if the closer manages to hold on to the game and his team wins, then he earns a save. So closer success in history are measured by who has the most saves ever. So I thought it was only appropriate that John Rocker be featured on the save image.
All right, I understand at least 60% of those words, so cool.
Because Australian.
We should start talking about cricket or rugby, just to throw them off.
I saw, actually in Stanley Park, we saw some people playing cricket, didn't we?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think not a single white person playing.
No, there wasn't, but people do play cricket in Vancouver, in Canada, I can confirm. So Adam and Bethany are the first team to get to JFK, but they can't find the desk, allowing Tim and TJ to overtake them. And the first flight was Tim and TJ, Dennis and Isabel, Adam and Bethany, Kim and Ali, and Misty and Jim. And the second flight was Amy and Maya, Brooke and Robbie, Keith and Whitney. You disgust me. Lisa and Michelle, Michael and Scott, and Shelley and Nikki.
I love chilling on 20 minutes. I think we're just that awesome.
I think we just go to the normal desk. It'll
So
be fine.
I think teams are struggling that much.
I think my favorite thing throughout the season is going to be imitating whenever Bethany speaks, because she has that really high inflection at the end of her voice. So she didn't know where the counter was.
I love that everyone was touting Adam and Bethany as the front runners, and then they just screw it royally twice this episode.
But they got to the park first,
First?
and they were on the first flight. And that's not getting funny anymore, so I'll hold on to it for a little while.
So once they got to...
Upon entering the U.S. Virgin Isles, Isabel says that she is ready to be wet. So, let's skip over that comment.
Yeah, I saw you tweeted her with that and got a retweet and a favourite.
LOL, hashtag truth.
Lol, hashtag truth. So yeah, once they got to Vendors Plaza, they had to sign up for 6 different seaplanes, which was Adam and Bethany and Tim and TJ on the first one, Kim and Ellie and Misty and Jim on the second, and Dennis and Isabel were alone on the third in terms of the first flight. And then Keith.
I think Adam and Bethany went surfing during the break until the seaplane departed.
Probably. I don't think they do much else. Let's be honest. So Keith, me, Shelley and Nikki were on the 4th, Amy, Maya, and Lisa and Michelle on the 5th, and Brooke and Robbie and Michael and Scott were on the 6th. Did you notice how Adam was trying to emulate Mickey and Pete as well?
I thought they were trying to emulate what the...
How
Michael Louie, because Adam yelled "Eagle Eye."
Yeah, well, Adam started talking about being stoked. I think we should have a Mickey and Pete style counterform. I'm pretty sure the word stoked appeared in the Australia finale as well, because I think I sent a message to you about it.
You probably did, but I that was about the same time I got spammed by a bunch of people, so I must have got lost in the shuffle.
Yeah, it gives me shivers every time I hear it just go.
I did notice that when they wrote down the name for for the flight, it didn't actually look like Adam and Bethany at all. I had no idea what that actually written.
It looked like the word dicks. I was rewatching earlier to do the screenshots. It looked like they wrote something about dicks first. Not in an Aston and Christie go eat a dick way, but I will have to rewatch it and see what they actually said.
So they managed to quote Mickey and Pete, Michael and Louie, and then they write an obscenity on the board, all in the span of about 2 minutes.
Yeah. It really is a letter to the fans. Also,
and they probably could have stood around the side, and when the teams all just piled in and to try the name of the board, they could have yelled, "Stop sliding! Stop bloody sliding!
Stop bloody sliding!"
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that moment. I love that. Wait, you're hosting this now. I'll stop talking about that.
Yeah, I'm too busy. How many seasons do you reckon Jim and Misty have seen?
Ryan and Abby's. They really want to beat Ryan and Abby for the all-time wins record.
All 2 of them.
They tried to do a Mark and Bopper reference, but they cited the wrong one. Jim started talking about "Don't pull a Bopper on me," and when he was talking about her not puking, and it was actually Mark who was the puke hound.
Oh, that's what he meant. I thought he meant don't drop out of the race and leave me with someone I have no idea who they are.
No, it was to do with puking, I think. Poor Mallory, she was so robbed.
Well, I ain't got no clothes.
I ain't got no clothes! Everyone's favourite impression of mine is my Mark one, obviously. So, is this the first time that Phil's ever done an intro to a task and been interrupted?
Are
by
we
the
really going to
teams?
skip over Pengate?
Yeah, wasn't interesting.
It was pretty well edited. It was like
So three teams pretty much
like
fighting over a pen.
yeah, yeah. Like Shelly and Nikki just put their name down for like the fifth flight, I think, and then just like they saw all the teams like barreling in, and they're just like whoop. And then there's like a huge like gong or bang sound when they just like crashed into the board. It's pretty awesome. And then the blonde stole a pen, and then the firefighters got pissy over it, and that's what happened.
Yeah, did you think it was fair game, basically?
It it was a dick move, but not as much of a dick move as what the firefighters did later. So
Hashtag Boston not so strong because they just got sold by two 90-pound Miami-based realtors.
Hashtag Boston Stung. So yeah, is this the first time Phil's been interrupted during his task intros?
By the races, yes. And yeah, Phil. Yes, the only thing I can think of is when Grant was attacked by those monkeys while shooting the one in Namibia.
He was not happy. I think that was my favourite of the season, just because he had the expression as if say, "You little bastards, what are you doing to me?" To the producers, why are you making me? He looks so uncomfortable.
We'll take John Montgomery if you don't want him, or if you don't want him like during the off season.
Let's be perfectly clear. Monty retweeted me when I said we love him, so he's ours.
Alright. We'll take Davina then.
Ginger ownership.
You are not having Davina either. Davina goddess. Davina is by far the best Big Brother host ever.
Nah, Emma's better.
We do have a very good record with the exception of Brian, but I still prefer Davina.
Well, I've seen bits of the first two seasons. Brian's like about as good as Davina was back then. She was terrible back then, so like in the first two seasons.
Yeah, but she vastly improved.
Not as much as Emma did like the moment she came out. So
yeah, she's now doing voice as well. Can I just point out on BBC One?
Cool. And also Davina was like hideously biased for showmances. So imagine if she'd host like the season Aaron won. There's like 5 showmances that season. Should have been gushing over it. It would have been so annoying. And no attention would have been paid to Heaven Africa. So anyway, let's go to a subject with Logan. Logan knows what we're talking about.
Thank you, Grande.
I think there's something very important we have to discuss, and that is that Bethany was able to climb up at the next route marker at the Leap of Faith with only one arm. I think we all should shed a few tears that she was able to accomplish this. Great role model, and just all 20,000 people that watched the episode were just weeping and bawling their eyes out when they saw Bethany climb up this wall.
I'm going to guess that was sarcastic.
Did they actually think that was a big deal out of it?
No, you, Logan.
I even wrote it down. I wrote down on my sheet, down seconds until they talk about Bethany being able to climb up the wall with arm. I think it was 5 seconds later before they got into a long confessional about it.
Yeah, seriously, she's proven herself to be very, very good at everything. Yeah. First group reference.
So I was able to climb up the wall, and it was really good.
But really hard. The teams must now perform.
But I saw Whitney looking at my man.
Shut up about that. That's my joke.
Too late, bitch.
Now, Teams will stand for a two-story leap off rocks to receive their next clue from a message in a bottle. Tim and TJ were the first to jump, with Adam and Bethany straight behind, and they're the first teams to discover that they must now head to Blackbeard's pirate ship to receive their next clue.
Oh, I think I messaged
Get
you. I
off
think
me, ship.
I put this down while I was watching it. Oh no, I forgot what I was saying now. It'll come back to me.
Blackbeard was having a nice time, wasn't he?
He was very Michael and Scott. I was waiting him for when I think he blew the gun there, or fired the gun with I bet with the realtors on there. He probably said, "No, open, you're out. Get off." Ship.
Yeah, blowing the gun is something completely different. Yeah, and the Blackbeard clue told them to row their boat to shore. Did you notice that?
Pull their boat to shore.
Yeah. Did you notice Keith and he moved their wedding?
Interesting. Well, it's like they're actually married now, so yeah. I guess it didn't ruin anything, or it's not going to play into the season at all.
Weren't Hayden and Kat supposed to have that slot, and then when they broke up, CBS went, who could we ask? Keith, me?
I didn't know they broke up.
No, neither did I. I heard a rumor that
was about a month ago.
Hayden and Kat were supposed to be that team though, and then researched.
Oh. The rumor or that they broke up? Oh, I don't know. But like, could you imagine a world where Hayden is the first person to do all three shows?
Yeah, who is going to be the first person there?
Rachel.
Hopefully not. Although her in Survivor would be hilarious because she'd be way targeted. She would be out straight away.
I just want to see him go on Big Brother and be first one evicted.
Yeah, I think we're robbed of Rachel not being the first person to go on all three CBS reality shows, but she would not last a second on Survivor.
I sort of see her as like I don't really like her as much as a lot of the internet do, or that sort of stuff, and I don't hate her as much as you guys do, but it's sort of like she's just one of those people who is like sort of like born to be on reality television, but in that respect she's sort of like a lesser did you watch the season of Celebrity Big Brother with Louisa?
Yes, I am aware of Louisa's work.
Yeah, she's basically like she's one of those people who born to be on reality television, but she's sort of like lesser in like a lesser Louisa, a lesser Makosi, a lesser Johnny Fairplay, Sandra, whatever you want to call them. She's just like I get her appeal. It's just like she's not like one of those people who's like aim is to win. She's just there to like be a big character, and if she happens to win, it's just sort of like incidental.
If you like Louisa on Big Brother, you'll love her on The Apprentice because she was.
I think she was playing like. I read
the only person who Alan Sugar has ever basically told to F off after the season. How badly she was using The Apprentice.
Oh, God.
Anyway.
Good. We're podcasting again.
Brooke and Robbie had an interesting quote with the whole jumping off the cliff and Robbie telling her to kiss his bicep. At least it was only his bicep. So we had a...
Don't rock the boat!
We had a pretty much rehash of Amazing Race 22's sandcastle roadblock this time as well. When we got to the roadblock.
Yeah. What about those boats? Those boats looked like imagine if Marshall and Lance or Adrian and Dana had to be in that boat, or the Brown family from Treasure Hunters. That boat would have just sunk instantly.
Well, they should have.
Or Chuck and Winona. Oh, Winona would have been like.
What they should have done was taken a leaf out of Amazing Race 17's book and just put them in conicals instead of bows, because that would have been hilarious.
Oh. Or just like, or another tiny, ridiculously tiny, thin boat, and then you had to put the two firefighters on there, and they never get to shore.
Or Brooke and Robbie. So
I wonder, or they could have had Dennis Rodman and Mark Curry from Celebrity Mole Yucatan have to relive that task, and so they just have to be in the boat alongside the other teams while Angie Everhart is in scuba gear underneath them as the boat eventually sinks, while answering trivia questions about the Lion King.
Yeah, we can see how that happens there all the time.
Good choice with the Lion King, though. Couldn't think of worse films to talk about. So in this roadblock, one team member must use coordinates and a liquid compass to find a chest containing their clue, which is buried in the sand.
Amazing Race Asia 1 combined with Treasure Hunters.
Yay! Any chance to have some treasure hunters, we do. As most people are aware of. I think we had a 4-week stretch of treasure hunters being referenced every single week, which is nice.
That's
It's an unfair lack of love.
And unlike Amazing Race Asia 1, teams don't have to wait 3 hours to get a shovel for this roadblock, so they get a lot more help that way.
I'm not sure they needed the shovel, though. The shovel was basically there to give them the length of a pace.
Sounds like the Shapira tribe from Survivor All-Star should have done this task.
Yeah, pretty much. So we had Tim, Adam, Ali, Jim, Dennis, Kim, Ashley, Maya, Lisa, Scott, and Robbie doing the roadblock.
Sounds like the names of a boy band or S Club 7.
Which one has the flow?
Yeah. Here's the question. Which of the 11 people to do a roadblock had the flow? Get ready.
Zach.
Here we go.
Zach had the flow for 13 rounds and somehow still won.
Yes, Zach got the flow.
Oh.
Get ready, everybody, because here we go. Roadblock club. There ain't no party like a roadblock party. So Tim really sucked at reading the instructions. There's always one, but at least Adam knew what a compass was. Also,
did Jim come off like his IQ was 300 or 400 by how he was the only one that knew how to work the liquid compass, and when he tried to explain it to other teams, he just completely lost them with his explanation of how the liquid compass works?
Well, he had a slight advantage, I suppose, by having a compass on his watch as well, so he could compare. But
yeah, and he noticed that like he was going in a different direction than the compass than what he was reading, so it's like, oh, it's not like that, it's like that.
Also, Keith had a bit
These hand movements are obviously integral to the podcast.
Keith obviously had a bit of an advantage with the compass-related task, given that during Survivor South Pacific, all he talked about was his compass tattoo, thanks to having his pacemaker put in.
Yeah,
thankfully he wasn't on XL Island for Survivor Cook Islands.
Yeah.
I'd like to play my pacemaker as in the immunity idol.
Oh, this one's a fake idol. Throw it in the fire.
No, I need that to live.
Best moment of the entire task was when Ali started flirting with Adam, and the camera just glanced at Whitney, as if to say, "We know your game."
I don't want any of these women looking at my boyfriend.
Husband, I think you'll find.
Oh, right. Whatever. I forgot which ones are married and which ones aren't.
I'm pretty sure they're married.
Yeah, they are married. without
Does
an inflection.
the
I am sure
Hawaiian marriage
myself that
count
they
in the
are
rest
married.
of America?
They're the newlywed team, I think. No, there's always certain categories of people. Pretty sure they're the newlyweds.
Yeah, yeah. Always need a pair of newlyweds in the race, just to speed up the whole divorce process.
We had a couple of rare things happen in this episode as well. The pit stop clue also said the last team to check in will be eliminated rather than May. Every single season for about 6 or 7 now it has said May. And also it's the first one in absolutely forever that they didn't leave the start line in cars. Or didn't drive themselves from the start line.
Trying to think which one. Like the last one I remember that actually departed in taxis was season 6. I don't know. I mean, that was in like Chicago, so.
I think season 6, 6 and 16 both used public transportation to get to the
17, I'm pretty sure, was a self-drive.
airport. That was the big twist in 16 was using public transit.
17 was, I'm pretty sure, self-drive. 18 definitely was. 19 definitely was. 20 definitely was. 21. 21 was, because that was Colorado Street. It was Colorado Street Bridge. So it's the last one was 16. So Ford must have shelled out then, I'm assuming. Because there was no self-driving in the first leg for absolutely ages.
Probably should have looked. I don't know. They probably Pinto should probably Pinto probably should have put their foot in and offered them a deal. Just don't rerun anything.
So Jim is by far the first one out there and receives the clue to the pit stop, which is Fort Christian. And for the first time in a long while, the clue reads that the last team to check in will be eliminated. And Tim and TJ leaving second with Brooke and Robbie, and Kim and Ali in third and fourth, respectively.
And right after Jim finished the task, we have Dennis trying to vomit. I was all ready to screen cap it in preparation for this podcast, but he never ends up vomiting. Such a letdown.
You know for a fact that I would screen cap that because I loved doing #Olympian Puke last season.
His girlfriend is one that pukes anyway.
Yeah, he was probably sitting in a half short of the record.
And Adam and Bethany left in 5th, Amy and Maya in 6th, and Dennis and Isabel left in 7th with Shelley and Nikki in 8th. And then we have the repeat of season 22.
And also,
Max and Casey.
Apparently, on one of the secret scenes on the website, apparently Tim and TJ left their shoes at, I think it was, they left it at the rocks that they had to climb and jump off.
That was clever.
And by the time they got to the roadblock and they realized they had to go back and get their shoes, they were told it'd be like an hour and a half to get there and back, and it'd be dark by the time they got back to shore. So they had to leave their shoes behind and take their water shoes they climb the rocks with.
So they're not going to have any shoes?
I don't. We'll see.
They had shoes on.
They're like the water shoes that they use to climb up the rocks.
So they're going to run the race in water shoes from now on.
Well, if they mysteriously show up with shoes, I'll just give a side eye to production. But yeah, hope so. It'll be funny.
We learned from Whitney that she had to move her wedding to her second wedding to be on this race.
Yeah, were Kat and Hayden really dropping out that soon? Kat and Hayden must have dropped out at the last minute and they'd had to go, we need a pair of survivors who are in a relationship. Spin the wheel. Keith and Whitney.
Can we talk about how hilarious the cannon trolling was, where the Blackbeard fired a cannon at the beach each time that a team showed up at the roadblock? That must have just simultaneously just frightened teams, and then half a second later they realize, oh crap, we're pretty much equalized.
Yeah, that was a really quite evil choice, but hilarious.
Blackbeard cares not for your psyche.
Exactly. What the hell was happening at the pit stop as well? With all the carnival atmosphere.
Carnival!
It's basically like Parvey from Animal Crossing was in charge of.
Yeah, he's a super team. He actually used words twice.
Yeah. If the design of the pit stop must have been left to Parvey from Animal Crossing.
Or just took some weeds, or just had some peyote.
There
shall be giant dancing people in green, and there shall be one dressed as a wall, as big as a wall.
Yeah.
Do not question my vision.
As we mentioned, Keith and Whitney, Michael and Scott, and Lisa and Michelle all decided to take a 4-hour penalty and race for who was going to be the guaranteed losers.
And in that time, Adam had to transfer the chest to the beach because he found the chest from the roadblock all the way to the pits to see him carrying it briefly for a second in the episode, but there's a deleted scene where Phil just makes fun of them for thinking that the chest was their possession because the clue said to bring all your possessions to the pit stop, and he brought it all the way there.
Yeah, I was wondering about that because that was a seriously stupid move, and one that, if the chest was actually heavy, could have cost them the race.
Do we have to bring the chest to pit stop now?
Are you sure?
Should we talk about Lisa's sense of direction to never eat shredded wheat?
Yeah.
Wait, what? What? Never ate what?
Shredded wheat.
She, I think the sun rises in the west and sets in the east.
We use never eat soggy Weet-Bix.
Yeah, that's because you don't have Weetabix, which is the proper name for it. Yes, I've been joined by Parvey. If you've never seen Parvey on Animal Crossing, he's a legend.
I see. But yeah, Lisa's only used the GPS, and yeah, so she's like, oh, sun sets in the... I love how no teams tried to correct her on saying that the sun rises in the west and sets in the east.
Well, I think everyone really knew that she was dense. So we had Grin and Misty, who won the save when they came in first. We had Tim and CJ in second, Kim and Ali third, Brooke and Robbie fourth, Adam and Bethany pulling the chest in fifth, Amy and Maya in sixth, seventh was Dennis and Isabel, eighth was Shelley and Nikki, ninth was Keith and me, they disgust me, 10th Michael and Scott, and sadly, massive loss was the hashtag Miami Realtors in last.
Wah, wah.
Wah, wah.
Did you notice that Keith claimed that he was digging for the chest 100 times? And was anybody amused that there was a marker that said the chest is here, and all three teams were only inches away from where the chest was buried for them? They definitely would have found that within the 4-hour penalty time.
I'm hoping that the editors have learned a little bit from Amazing Race Canada, because I know we mentioned it a couple of times, but Amazing Race Canada had amazing graphics this time. It was one of the huge thumbs up that they earned, because certain roadblocks and things where they were collecting them, there was special graphics for that. That's all.
Speaking of Amazing Race Canada, I think that some of the editors were there some of the editors with that helped out with Suki with the fast forward were there to edit the footage of Lisa at the roadblock because of how much blurring was going on screen.
It does intrigue me what happens to the unedited photos, because I think we found that they just all huddle around a computer and go, "Oh, breasts."
Oh, look, it's something I can get for free by going to Google Images.
This week, because that almost had Bethany liking that.
So, next time, shocking turn of events, they're going back to London.
Where all there is to do is the weirdest sports in the world.
But what about the
what
shoving?
is it about the UK
gotta
always
talk
having
about the
the weird sports show?
Don't ask me, you live there. Ah, yeah, the shoving. Because you're the one pushing us through this episode without giving us a chance to talk about stuff.
Yeah, we're just rambling, it's fun.
Oh, yeah, in another deleted scene, apparently Brookie and Rob and... Brooke and Robbie or Brookie and Rob? I don't know which.
It's Brooke and Robbie.
Brooke and
Brooke and
Robbie.
Brooke and Robbie and and Kim and Ali, they both took this. They both took the same. They arrived at the same time, took the same vehicle, but this vehicle, for whatever reason, like took them to the very top of like the nearest like hill. Just I don't know, for whatever reason they wanted to take the scenic route or something. I mean, the driver did, and so like by the time that they'd left there, they'd arrived at like sure in third and fourth place, and they were like convinced that because that was going to be last. And then when they got there, they were still in third and fourth place. So I'm just how big of a distance did every one of the teams have between each other for that to happen? Because I was like,
it's going to be really interesting to see the actual check-in times, because I think Jim and Misty are going to be very, very far ahead.
Usually check-in times are only minutes apart on the first leg because of how many equalizers there are and having teams depart 15 minutes apart. So to see teams be hours and hours spread out is really unprecedented for a first episode.
At least nowadays, anyway.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they're going to get equalised because they'll be on the same flight to London, but it's going to be really, really interesting to see how far ahead they actually were. Because I reckon Jim and Misty are probably going to be about 90 minutes, 2 hours ahead, if not more.
And the save indirectly spoils when the last non-elimination leg is going to be. Because they say that the save is going to be over by the end of leg 9, which means that if that were the case, then the final non-elimination would be with 5 teams left, and then the final 3 legs would all be eliminations in a row.
Yeah, you'd assume there's going to be... Well, the save is only used when Phil says it's an elimination leg unless you got the save. So there's going to have to be at least one non-elimination leg before leg 9, because otherwise, obviously, we haven't got enough teams left.
How many legs are there this season again?
12.
12.
Ah, okay. So how many at the most or the least? How many teams could be left by the end of leg 9?
If there was no non-elimination legs, there would be 1 team left. I think 2 teams left. Sorry. So there has to be at least 2 non-elimination legs before leg 9.
And what would be hilarious is if Jim and Misty finish in first place for the first 9 legs, and then they finish in last on the 10th leg. That would be delicious.
That would also be very surreal.
Well, it makes me think there might be an additional rule added onto it. Because with the Express Pass, there was the unwritten rule that if you didn't use it in the first 8 legs, the 9th leg you would have a fast forward that only you had to perform. And that only you could perform. That was the rumoured rule. Of course, Australia put a little asterisk on that. So, is there a potential for the save if they don't use it in the first 9 legs, leg 9 being an elimination, is there a potential for Jim and Misty to then have to pick whether it's a salvage pass? Because that's the only thing I can think of it being twisted with.
I have no
Interesting.
idea.
Can you imagine the absolute storm if it became a salvage pass, though? Oh,
What's this foreign thing in our American show? We don't take communist stuff in our American show.
American
America.
twist for American workers.
So, Lisa and Michelle got shoved.
Yeah.
That was a
Yep.
pretty douchey move. Nope, you're out, girls. Boom, 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 boom.
I think Michael and Scott obviously had the pre-season edit of we're going to be heroes because we're firefighters. They're not going to be heroes. They're going to be evil. I suspect.
And which was just a minor struggle, and then apparently something equivalent to fight over a pen, shoving people that like the side of a car door. When you already have the taxi, there's no way to shove around because Michael or Scott was already sitting inside the taxi for some reason. Instead of giving Lisa and Michelle a second to just run away, they decided to just push them on the way out. How unnecessary was that?
Yeah,
So unnecessary.
So next week we've got another trip to London. I wish they'd come to proper area of the UK still. Loads of punting, pancake flipping, and our favourite thing in the world, crying. Yay.
We also had a delicious Phil quote at the end of the episode.
What was that?
He said he was telling the realtors, no one expected you to finish last today. Even though in our cast preview and many other places online, we were expecting Lisa and Michelle to probably finish last on the first leg. But for some reason, Phil was so shocked that happened.
So what you're saying is, for the second season on the trot, we correctly guessed who went out first.
On this one,
I believe so. Yeah. Well, we said that Shelley, Nikki, or Tim and TJ would go first, but we said that we weren't too far off with our assessment of Lisa and Michelle.
Yeah, we were 100% right in Canada, definitely.
And then Phil, before the season, he had a boot list that he supplied to TV Guide, and he said that he thought that the realtors would finish the season in 8th place. So, and like, he did expect them to go pretty much first, because that's what he wrote down before the season even started.
Yeah, but he guessed Keith and Whitney would go out first, didn't he?
It was pretty damn close to happening too.
Yes, he did.
Probably because they didn't go through casting, and he wouldn't have known them. That's my suspicion. So,
It's possible, yeah.
I think that's about it for the episode, don't you?
Yeah, I have no other notes.
Yeah, I think I covered everything.
So, thank you very much for watching and listening.
Yeah, that's it.
We'll be back next Sunday at the same time, at least in the Pacific time zones, and the UK time zone as well, for the next Amazing Race recap podcast brought to you by the US Team Number Facebook group. And it is my homeland again. Yay! Don't forget your comments down below, and please like the videos so we rise up the rankings and I can stop sounding horrendously needy. Or you can hit us up on Twitter. If you search yatncast, you can find us. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.